Jump into it, pussy fart.
Okay. Okay, so welcome back to the Action Jack-Offs podcast. This is the show where we talk about the very best and favorite action movies of all time. Today we're going to be talking about The Mummy in keeping with our spoopy Halloween theme.
Spoofy.
Spoofy, yeah.
Our
Uh,
spoofy action Halloween.
yeah, our action Halloween theme that we got going on here. So it's The Mummy. Um, yeah, so what a great movie.
I love it,
Yeah, I
dude.
mean,
It's incredible.
is there a more iconic Brendan Fraser movie?
George of the Jungle.
Well, now, now,
Well, I didn't even think about that one.
well, since we're getting into it,
Well,
we might as
I
well
fucking
just,
love George of the Jungle, dude.
dude, George of the Jungle slaps. Um, and then of course, like, there's like other stuff too, like The Whale.
Oh, I loved it, but the end kind of meh. I wanted it to be even more harsh.
Oh yeah, like him dying wasn't enough.
No,
Collapsing
I
to the
wanted
floor.
like there's this like he's on the beach at the end. I wanted like it to have the beach and then like him hitting the floor, and that's the last thing you see.
And then somebody yells, "It's a beached whale!"
No, we he didn't. No, no. I mean, Journey to the Center of the Earth also slaps.
It's been so long since I've seen it. I
Oh,
honestly
it's so
don't
good.
remember it. See, that's what's so funny is, oh, there's also Dudley Do Right. There's that one.
I mean, Encino Man.
Airheads.
A lot of people love Encino Man.
What's that one? Oh, the one with the guy that has the monkey on his back. Is that what that
Oh,
movie's
Monkey
called?
Bones.
Monkey Bones. Yeah.
That's directed by Henry Selick, who did Coraline and the Nightmare Before Christmas.
That makes sense too, because that movie is a trip.
It is really strange. And then I kind of ride for Inkheart as well.
That too was another one that I just kind of like that just passed me. I mean, I saw it, but I think whenever it came out, I just was not at the right age to like enjoy it.
Hey, I probably watched it when I was like 17 and was like, this is it.
This is the one. And
This is the
it's a fun
one.
story. It's a fun story for sure. Let's see
Love it.
here. Talking about
Love it, love it, love it. I even will defend the Mummy 3. I'm going to go ahead and jump that in there.
with the Dragon Emperor,
The Tomb of the Dragon
Tomb of the
Emperor,
Dragon
yeah.
Emperor, yeah, with Jet
Yetis?
Li. Yetis.
We have Yetis?
Honestly, underrated.
That's incredible.
Honestly,
It
what
is.
an underrated
I really
trilogy of
enjoyed the last
movies.
fight. It's really good. Everybody just talks about 1 and 2 and three's the little stepchild, but I'm here for it. Watch all 3 of them. I'm a completionist.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Except for Rocky 5.
What is really funny about this is that the guy that wrote and directed this movie, Steven Sommers, he was also the producer of Van Helsing. If that tells you anything.
It makes a lot of sense.
And it's funny because he doesn't have a ton of credits, right? Like he doesn't have a whole lot of credits. He's got like he was like he's like the let's see here, like he was the big guy for he was like the big mind behind the Scorpion King, which makes
And that's
sense.
where it all fell apart.
Which uh but you've also got obviously like the Mummy Returns. He did that 1994 movie, The Jungle Book, like the live action
Oh, the
one.
live action one?
Yeah.
That one's weird.
And
I'm here for it though.
this is somewhat deceptive. This is pretty fun. He did a movie called Catch Me If You Can, but it's not the Leonardo DiCaprio Tom Hanks movie.
It's
It's
a
just
little deceptive.
it's a totally separate movie called Catch Me If You
I'm
Can.
putting it on my resume because it sounds better.
He all and I mentioned produced Van Helsing. He also directed it too. Thought that was worth
Interesting.
mentioning.
See, to bring it back to Scorpion King and the Mummy, the best use of the Scorpion King is in the movie Nope, and that's the best thing that Scorpion King has ever done is be a reference in another movie that's better.
Yeah, and I
The
mean,
Rock,
it wasn't
ugh,
that great in its own movie
Bark.
either. But anyway, yeah,
Nah, I don't even enjoy it that much in two.
Yeah, in two he just shows up as like the final boss, and then they do all that weird
Hmm.
stuff with Brendan Fraser's character where they're like, oh, he's actually like a secret uh ancient warrior, like a part of a generations of secret ancient warriors. That's why he's got the
Blow it out
scorpion
my ass.
tattoo. Yeah. And his son's like, "Yo, oh my God,
Eat
you're
my
you're
shorts.
you're ancient. You've got superpowers, and only you can kill the Scorpion King."
And just, you got to use this giant special spear that the brother has been hoarding around this whole time.
Yeah, because that's what the brother does in these movies. Is he
He's
just
the MacGuffin.
holds? Yeah, he holds the MacGuffin for other people.
Good old good old brother, John Hannah. I was looking for his actor name. Love that guy. He's my favorite part of these movies.
Really, he doesn't have much of a presence in this movie. I find.
Oh yeah, not as much, but it's always the second one is definitely more brother heavy. But even the few moments in this one, I'm just like, my guy.
Yeah. What do you think of the comedy overall in this movie? Because I kind of
Oh,
I've seen some people consider it also more of a comedy than a
it just depends. The second one is definitely tries to blend in the comedy a lot more. But I like the first one's blend of action, horror, and comedy. Like I think it's just a perfect embodiment of all three because like you got the scarabs murdering people and leaving skeletons. Like a lot of people die in this movie.
yeah, like pretty
Like
much.
a lot of people throughout the runtime, even if they're just cannon fodder characters, it's like 30 plus.
Yeah, people are dying pretty much right from the get go. Like you've got
There's people getting shot at the beginning,
shot in the beginning, people just being blown away, and
the
then
locusts,
pretty
the
pretty much as soon as
the
we get
scarabs.
yeah, as soon as we get back to Hamunaptra is when shit just starts hitting the fan. Those like diggers they get killed by that pressurized uh acid or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, like the sodium air or something.
Yeah, whatever it was that just like completely evaporated them. Um, and then like you said, the scarab. I think that was like one of the first ones to go. Was that guy that played
On
the warden? I don't remember
Oh
his
yeah.
name,
Ugh.
but yeah, he got it
Ugh.
bad. The scarabs
Yeah.
were always the worst part. Were always the most interesting part about the movie because um, they're definitely more mythical than anything else. But
Oh yeah. They'll burrow under your skin, but they're not quite that scary.
yeah,
But back to the comedy aspect of it, I quote a lot of the funnies in this movie a lot. Like I've even if it has no context to what we're saying or anything, I'll say you're on the wrong side of the river
yeah,
all the time, or just whenever the first encounter uh, that Brendan Fraser has with the mummy, and it screams at him, and he just goes
he
back
screams
before
back
shooting
at
it.
it.
Like
Yeah.
that gets me.
That was always so funny to me. Like, why does he do that? It's just his character is so funny. His character is one of the
Then
funnier
save my life.
yeah, one of the funnier action heroes that I find in any movie. Just because he's got such a good I mean it Brendan Fraser I've always considered him a very funny actor. I've always considered him to have a very like good sense of humor. So I always find it funny whenever he's in a movie where he plays a somewhat serious role, but he's always got something funny to say as a as just like a line. Uh, I like for instance in this movie he does a lot of what I call trailer speech.
Oh yeah.
So he's like always talking like he's speaking for a trailer or something.
And it
Uh,
works perfectly
and
for
it
the trailer.
and it works perfectly for the trailer. It works perfectly for the movie too. Honestly, I get a kick out of it. And he has a lot of funny lines like that. But there's also like moments that you mentioned, whenever he like screams back at the mummy, where it's just him doing something funny for the sake of doing something funny. Like during the scene where they're outside of the tombs in their little camp area, and Evie Rachel Weisz is just getting absolutely trashed drunk, and she's getting super drunk, and she goes in for a kiss for O'Connell, Brendan Fraser's character, and she goes in for the kiss, and she just like passes out halfway through the kiss, and he just like mock kisses the air, and I just started laughing. Dude, that was so funny. Like his timing is really really good.
And it's just perfect Brendan Fraser energy. Like all of those little tidbits that maybe somebody else wouldn't have done, or somebody would have played it like more straight down the middle, I know, like an action hero or whatever. And
Yeah,
he's just doing takes.
yeah. It's so funny. I
I
always
also love Bernard Fox, the
yes,
Captain Winston character. Oh my, just a good old drunk guy flying his plane and stepping in the fountain, going like, "Oh, somebody spilled a drink."
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, he's pretty funny. Sad that he died the way he did in the movie. Honestly,
Oh yeah, but he went out as a pilot, as a dragon rider.
as a dragon rider. Awesome, awesome sauce. Honestly, like his it's funny to me because I was like, what did like pretty much most characters in the movie have at least some role, and for the longest time I was like, dude, what the fuck is this old British drunk got to do with this movie? He just shows up and he's like a character like that everybody knows, and then he flies the plane and then he dies, and I was like, what the fuck? I used to be like, what the fuck is that even about? What the hell is even that? And eventually I just kind of like took it at face value, and I was like, you know what? I'm having fun with it. We're all just having fun with it. Because I think that's kind of like the moral of this movie is to just shut up and have fun with it. Like if you sit there and if you sit there and you ask yourself, why is this? Why is that? All this other shit, then you're just like, then I just kind of feel like you missed the point of the movie.
Exactly. It's more of that. It's just, they got a good old comedy director or a comedy actor, and they probably only had him for a little bit and just wanted to get some jokes out of him.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at some of his credits, and he's in a lot of old scary movies. He's in one of the Herbie movies, which I loved. He's in some Sherlock Holmes. He's in some Knight Rider episodes. He's in some old Scooby Doo. Like this
He's
guy's
a
got a repertoire.
decorated actor for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, he like didn't do anything from like 1980 until he, or no, 1990 until he did this.
That's so funny. Like
Oh no,
he was called in specifically to do this.
he did in 1990. He did a Disney film for the voice acting, and then he showed up in Titanic in this, and then he was done.
That's hilarious.
He was out. That's a great looking career though for old Hollywood.
Can we give a shout out
Coming into the new?
Can we give a shout out to Kevin J. O'Connor as Benny?
Oh yeah, Benny!
Probably easily, like, in my opinion, is like the funniest character in the movie.
What a strange person.
What a strange character. I never knew this until this rewatch that Benny's character is supposed to be Hungarian.
Well, yeah, but he's also a side flipper.
Yeah, I mean, he's a man of many hats for sure, or necklaces.
Men of many hats and many denominations.
But he's Hungarian, and I never put that because I'm Hungarian, so I was just like, find that interesting.
It makes a lot of sense.
Or I have Hungarian.
You're kind of a coward if I've ever seen one.
Thanks. Thanks. Wow.
I kid. I love you and the Hungarians.
Yes. But no, he's easily like the funniest character of the movie, and I think what makes him so funny is Brendan Fraser's character playing off of him.
Him being the foil to Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and just like the fact that they're like frenemies to an extent. Like for some reason, like just from the get-go, I really love their relationship. Like what little relationship.
It's much like you and me on the pod.
Almost, yeah. Like but in a more literal sense. Like I love how like in the opening scene, Brennan's like, you're with me on this, right? And Penny's like, your strength gives me strength. And then he just books
And then immediately he starts running.
Oh, dude, that's so fun. And then every time after that, he's just like, when he gets a chance, he's like, bye bye, Benny. And then he just throws him off the boat, or he loses him in the tombs. Like, it's so funny.
It's me and you whenever we were thinking about redoing Demolition Man. I was like, your strength gives me strength. And then I ran.
Yeah, yeah. No, like seriously, like yeah, no, he's funny, and obviously like another like great scene is like the scene of him going through like the different denominations of religion, like he's just counting them off, and then he gets to like Hebrew, speaking Hebrew, and the mummy's like the language of the slaves. I can
He goes, I
use
understand
this.
this one. And then he
Yes.
offers him gold for his services.
Yep. And then it all works out. And then, oh,
It
dude,
all works out in the end for him.
my absolute favorite scene with Benny has to be, and I laugh out loud every time I see this, is the scene where they're in Cairo, they're back in Cairo, and it's right after the mummy, like the plagues start up again, and the mummy is in town, and Brendan Fraser and Jonathan are like walking around. Do you like how I always refer to him as Brendan Fraser instead of his character's name?
It's making it really consistent, easy to understand.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And they go upstairs, and like they see Benny in Cairo, and they chase after him to his room, and Benny's like tearing up some room or something, and I forget like exactly like how the sequence goes where like they come upon Benny in that room, but they see him. He tries to make a run for the window, and Brendan Fraser just picks up this chair and
Oh, it tosses it at him?
he
That's the
hucks
best.
it at him, and just it crashes against Benny, and he falls.
He's
Dude,
like, oh, you got me, Brendan.
oh dude, it's so fun. And then he just proceeds to beat the piss out of him. It's so funny.
I just absolutely love how when he throws the chair, we like get transported to a slapstick comedy for like 10 minutes.
Anytime Benny is on screen, it turns into a fucking uh 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 Abbott and Costello bit or a Three Stooges bit for a second.
It's just that dude that you see and it's a fight on sight. You've known each other too long.
Oh yeah, like as soon as he saw Benny,
I'm
he's
picking up whatever I can find.
exactly. He grabs the without hesitation. Doesn't even look at the chair before he grabs it. He just reaches down and grabs it and just absolutely piss missiles that chair.
It's amazing. His death scene, though, is completely warranted, still makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, dude, it's one of the like harshest death scenes for someone that really deserved it.
He really deserved it. He screwed over so many people.
Caused so many lives to be hit, like just took played a part in so many people's deaths.
Oh, it's so good though. Him getting trapped there, his lantern or torch or whatever slowly losing light, and
Mm.
all of the scarabs closing in on him. While and then the irony of him being surrounded by all the gold and glory he always wanted. Ah, it's so good.
Yep. Yep, and that makes there was like what 3 kills for the scarabs so far in the movie. He was the
Give
third
or
one.
take, because
It
then
was
they
like
use him
it was
at the
the
beginning of the movie to as part of the torture
oh
for the
yeah,
mummy.
yeah, I forgot about that. Well, they didn't kill the mummy technically, I don't think.
Technically, it's like an eternal suffering.
Yeah, he was still technically alive.
Uh huh.
But yeah, they took the
And there's
warden, they took that one random digger, and then they took Benny.
yeah, maybe I'm thinking of the second one. I was like, I feel like there's more, but it might just be the other ones.
Yeah.
Big
Also,
fan.
getting into it, we talked about pretty much like all the other major players in this. Let's talk about Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep.
He shows up a lot in these episodes. It seems
This
like
this is twice now. It's so funny that I brought this up a little while ago, but we have sort of a like I don't even know. It's at this point it's probably like a 5-way tie or something like that between people in these action movies that have made appearances. Like Shia LaBeouf, he's made 2 appearances. Sylvester Stallone's made 2 appearances. There was somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. and now Arnold Vosloo can be considered someone that's uh,
A
uh,
multi-time.
a multi-time, or he's a two-time appearance guy.
Love it.
Yeah, he's so
We
that
got
was Hard Target, and now this movie.
and Will Smith, maybe? No.
No,
Who's the
we
other
only did
guy?
iRobot for Will Smith.
Yeah.
I'd have to look back
Who
through
is
the
the
list
other
of
guy?
stuff that we did because I know we've already done like three Arnold movies, 3 or 4. Because we did Terminator, we did Running Man, and we did Predator. Oh, Jesse
Oh,
Ventura is another one.
oh yeah, Lance Hendrick or Henriksen also
Yeah, he was in Aliens,
in
and he was in
Terminator,
Terminator. Jesse
and he
Ventura
was
was
and
he
he
in?
was the main bad guy in Hard Target.
That's right. So he's a three timer. He's a three timer. That's
Yeah, we
pretty.
got all.
We
We need
gotta
to put the list together.
we gotta put a list
Do some
together.
better research so we don't just jabble about
Yeah,
it.
that's actually a good idea for a bit. We should do that.
Yeah,
We should do that on the next
Michael
one.
Beans twice.
Yep, yep. That tracks. That we did that. Um, it's so funny that like there's more extra, like the side characters or like the villains make more appearances than like the main action heroes do.
It's just they knew what they were working with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get more Keanu Reeves, more Patrick Swayze's. Whenever we do
Oh,
Point
and a
Point
Point
Break,
Break.
yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
I'm trying to get
It's
Point
just
Break
better,
and
Fast and
Roadhouse.
Furious.
I'm trying to get Point Break and Roadhouse on the list.
Well, that's at least two sways. I think we could work Ghost in as an action movie.
Oh no, we cannot. We could probably work Dirty
Ah.
Dancing in if you count the dancing as action. Anyway,
I mean, maybe Johnny Darko.
maybe get Jake Gyllenhaal in there and then do like a retrospective of the next of like the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse.
Yeah, I mean, we could work it in.
We can make something. We can make it work. I think anyway. But yeah, no, Arnold Vosloo,
It's one of the best bad guys we got.
he kicked
Scary
ass.
face.
It's funny too, because like for the most part of the movie, I feel like he doesn't really speak. I noticed he doesn't really like talk. Like he
No, he
speaks
just
in
emotes.
he does speak in ancient Egyptian, but and I think the word he says the most is an oxynomoon, and that's about it. Like he's not one of those villains that has like good lines. He has good scenes. Like whenever he's doing like the sandstorm or he's doing the plagues. I think he's more of a visually iconic villain because he's got like
He just
his
emotes right.
he emotes right. He's got his mummified body of like 1999 CGI. It's not the best looking, but it's fun.
Dude,
Um,
and little known fact, whenever Mr. Vosloo, he was doing the audition for the role, he started making the desert look like his face, and they were like, "Dude, you got the part."
that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You got any special talents? Oh, I got one.
Well, just that's hilarious. I yeah, I just like briefly like talk about how weird it is that like what sense does it like I'm thinking about the curse, right? The curse they put on Imhotep to like turn him into the mummy. That's got to be one of the dumbest fucking curses ever in the
Yeah,
history of cinema.
yeah,
So basically you're telling me you kill this guy, you turn him into a living undead, and if he ever gets resurrected, he becomes a fucking god?
yeah. It's the trade-off for how much suffering he has to go through, but it's dumb.
But it's dumb
It's dumb.
because guess what happens? Like he gets resurrected, and they basically said if anybody touches these like sacred pots, these sacred jars, then it's gonna resurrect him, and he's gonna turn into like the scourge of the earth. It's like, why'd you do that?
But
Why?
yeah,
What's the
they
trade
only did it
off?
once.
What's the trade off? Why would you do that? and then he comes back in the second movie. So it's not like it's not a permanent thing. And then all of a sudden we've got a guy who's running around with the powers of fucking deity, tearing up the Egyptian countryside.
Yeah,
Fucking dumb.
it's dumb. I agree, but it's silly. But that's why we're here. We needed something silly to get the story going. But the one thing that the prophecy, or the curse doesn't foretell is our boy Brendan Fraser coming back 2 times in a row to kick this mug's ass.
Yeah, true. Well, it's just so silly to me because I'm like, the curse doesn't even make sense from a perspective of like what all the curse does. Like, obviously, I'm forgetting like some details because I watched the movie like almost a week ago at this point.
This guy doesn't do his homework right, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm
He's
stupid.
putting off his real world homework just to do this.
But yeah, me. Uh, but it's like the whole like 10 plagues thing, right? They're like he brings the plagues of Egypt with him, and it's like we didn't. There's that didn't happen. Like there's some plagues, but like
Yeah, we didn't get there yet.
we didn't get all of them.
He wasn't done.
He wasn't done. You're right. He wasn't completed. He hadn't finished his plagues, or
And
he
he
was
didn't
like,
resurrect
or
his wife like he wanted.
he did like half of them, and then he was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this
He went,
anymore.
the budget's getting a little thin.
Oh man, I just don't have it in me to do 5 more plagues. Let's see, what plagues did he do? He did the locusts. He did the water into blood, which I don't remember that being a plague. I don't remember the plague.
It is.
It is okay.
No.
Um,
It's a
the
big part of the Moses storyline, you know?
the meteor shower, and then there
I think the
was
sandstorms are part of it.
then there was like the boils, the like the
Yeah, the
like
boils
the
and the
warts and
cyst
the
stuff.
warts and boils or whatever it was.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that was it. I don't think there was
Was
anything
there
else.
frogs?
I didn't see any frogs.
No, I don't think I remember any frogs.
No. And I don't think you can count the sandstorms as that because that's like a power Imhotep has unto himself.
Yeah.
So as far as I
No,
can tell,
you
there's
got,
only
you got lazy.
he only did 4
Poor
plagues.
planning.
And like whenever they were doing like the airplane scene, instead of doing like the whole like giant sandstorm bit, he could have like thrown a bunch of toads at him.
It'd be really funny if that's what we got instead.
He just throws a cloud of toads at the plane, and that's what causes the plane to crash.
It's just the scene from The Boy and the Heron where he's just covered in frogs and it's like, join us!
Yeah.
Join us!
And Brendan Fraser's like got his machine gun. He's just blasting frogs away.
Captain Winston is just like, I haven't had this much fun in 30 years.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know. It's semantics at this point. It's like trying to like talk about the parameters for how a curse works is just kind of up in the air.
I mean, maybe the Egyptians were wrong when they did the curse. Maybe they just didn't plan it out, you know? Maybe their head was too big and their arms were too small and they just didn't think this plan was well thought out, you know?
Yeah, it has to be a hubris thing because like there's no way you're just like, oh yeah, if he ever wakes up he's gonna be like super powerful and nigh invincible, and the only way to kill him is by using a totally separate book that we don't have.
Yeah. Maybe it's like one of those things where the curse is so bad that if he ever does get released that the world should be punished for what they did to him. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I want to like come up with some kind of justification for it just to make it
We're
make
not going
sense.
to.
But
It's a movie from 1999 starring Brendan Fraser.
it doesn't exist. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where you just have to shut up and
You have to accept it, dude. You
just
have
shut
to
up and
accept that
accept
we're on
it.
the ride. Hey,
Yeah.
do you know what's wrong, Garrett?
What's that?
Your point of view. It's on the wrong side of the river.
I'm glad. You find
You
joy
just
in
got
that.
all the horses, but you're on the wrong side of the river.
He goes, O'Connell, I've got all the horses.
Oh, it's so funny. Your strength gives me strength.
Dude, he's so fucking funny.
Oh, it's so good.
Like when he's
While
talking,
we're just vamping.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's the best.
Go ahead. What are we doing while we're vamping?
I was just gonna say, while we're just vamping, I just want to say he's the best.
Oh yeah, he is. He is without a doubt the best. Like I like that scene where he's talking to one of the cowboy dudes, Mr. Henderson, I think,
Yeah,
played by Stephen Dunham. Uh, and it's like for some reason I don't even understand. I the scene does not make sense like at all. How the scene is set up, like so Imhotep came into Cairo disguised. Okay, I can understand that. And then, but he goes to meet with Mr. Henderson using Benny as his proxy. And for some reason, they meet him under the pretense that they're like a doctor or something trying to help him get his eyes and his tongue back. And
it's a lackluster setup that has a even more lackluster death.
yeah, because you don't even see it on screen.
He just goes whoa without a tongue.
Yeah. It's so, but Benny is just like in his ear, like, and the master wants to thank you for your eyes and your tongue. And I'm like, Benny, what are you doing, dude? You're so dark.
He just got too into the character.
Oh yeah,
He got lost in the sauce.
he was definitely playing it up for his master's sake. It's so silly. What do you think about the whole? Do you think it's goofy or do you think it's like? I guess there's no there's no alternative. It's either goofy or it's goofy. The whole Imhotep being afraid of cats thing.
Oh, it's super goofy, but I love it a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Like there's
It just makes sense.
there's so many bits of the movie that are
Oh
just like
yeah,
goofy for the
are
sake of
there?
being goofy. But
You're big goofy.
the one thing that doesn't really work for me is Evelyn's character, Rachel Weisz's character.
You just don't like it.
I just don't think she's that funny.
You don't think the knocking over of all the bookshelves isn't funny?
Nah, I thought it was kind of lame actually.
Oh, this guy! Listen to
And
him.
then and then during her
Boo!
introduction when
Boo!
the doctor the curator of the museum that she worked at, Eric Avari, Terrence Bay played by Eric Avari, he he's like, I don't even know why I keep you around. And she goes into like the most stereotypical like I've just got to get this exposition out type writing, where she's like, "You keep me around because I speak ancient Egyptian, and I know how to do this, and I know how to do that." And I'm like, "Okay, we get it. You're smart. We don't need your instruction manual to like hammer home. We don't need your whole D&D sheet to like explain why you're such an important character or why you're, relevant to this." I will say they do a much better job introducing Jonathan's character than they do Evelyn's character. Jonathan, played by John Hannah, because they insinuate more. They're more subtle with like what his backstory is. That he is also like an archaeologist or something like that, but he was like a failed archaeologist or he was kind of like a screw up and he's a thief. And just like all this stuff.
He's a street rat.
Yeah, he's no good almost. And I like that because it just comes from Evelyn's lines where she's like, I'm not going to screw up my career the way you screwed up your career. And then you learn later in the movie that he knows how to, like, he loosely knows how to speak ancient Egyptian or read hieroglyphics, you know? Like when he has to be the one. That's what I like about his character too, is that he's not just there as a comedic foil. Like he is actually there to do things.
And
Like
scream a little bit.
and scream a little bit. He has to be like the cowardly comedic relief character, like Benny, but he's like on the on the good guy side, and not nearly as pathetic. But he's got to be the one that's like he's. I'm glad that he. I'm trying to say I'm glad he's the one at the end of the movie has to read from the Book of Life, like the Golden Book, just to give him something to do. I don't know.
I really enjoy it. I
Yeah,
like whenever he's in the movie.
yeah, he's great. He's good stuff. He's good stuff.
You're good stuff.
Thanks, bub. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
What did you have? So Oh God, can I
You
fucking?
okay?
I'm having a fucking aneurysm. Jesus Christ. No, what I was gonna say was, have you at all seen the other Universal Mummy movies?
The original ones I've seen clips of, but I did go to the theater and see the terrible Tom Cruise one.
Okay, how was that?
It's terrible.
I guess you already asked and answered in the first sentence. The terrible Tom Cruise Mummy.
Oh yeah, it had some redeeming qualities, but none of them were Tom Cruise.
Oh, sad. I
What
like
was interesting is that they tried to set up like the dark universe can like shared everything, and they're only just now remaking the Wolfman and Nosferatu and stuff, but under not shared universe.
under totally different circumstances.
So strange. That movie's gonna be a strange time capsule.
You know what I think they should have done? And I'm just gonna say this
Hit me with it.
as someone that has almost 7 years of hindsight, 7 or 8 years of hindsight on that movie, is that what they should have done was they should have obviously should have, could have, would have, but Universal would have been super ahead of the game if instead of doing something similar to what Marvel and DC were doing at the time, if they had done what Marvel and DC did, several years into the future, like with No Way Home or with um The Flash,
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool, Wolverine, like if it's they should have done a movie like that where they introduced Tom Cruise as this mummy guy, like basically like the same character that he was in that movie, and then like a quarter of the way through the movie, like all the mummy shit starts like going crazy and taking off, and then halfway into the movie, we get reintroduced to Rick O'Connell. Like Brendan Fraser comes back as Rick O'Connell, and it probably wouldn't have worked because I don't remember, because Brendan Fraser was out of acting during this time, I think, or he was doing like mostly voice acting because I think
Yeah,
he had like those problems with his back or something.
yeah. On Journey to the Center of the Earth or Mummy 3, he hurt himself. I forget.
Yeah, and so he had probably I think he gained some weight or something like that. Like he didn't look very good, so it probably wouldn't have played out really well. But you could have had John Hannah come back. Um, I'm pretty sure you could have Rachel Weisz come back, just as
Well,
like
she didn't come back for the third movie,
just as
so
like cameos, or I guess get whoever was in the third movie. I don't remember what her name was in the third movie, but just do like just make like a cameo esque movie, and then Tom Cruise and Brendan Fraser have to work together to stop the new mummy, and then Brendan Fraser delivers like his like basically like his catchphrase at the beginning of all these movies, where he's like, "Here we go again."
yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm back.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, something happens, and he's just like, "Oh man, my neck," like oh, like whenever Tobey Maguire's like, "Oh, my back."
Hey, Gary, don't give these ideas out for free, all right?
Tell me that would not have been a dude. I'm telling you, 2017 Mummy would have been way better if that's the
All right,
angle they
buddy.
went with it. If that's the
I'm
angle
gonna
they
go
went with
ahead.
it, that would have been
Hey, all
insane.
right, buddy. All right, buddy. I'm gonna go ahead and segue it into this weird bit that I'm gonna do.
Okay.
So when I was rewatching The Mummy, I had like a flashback to being like, oh yeah, there was whatever the first few times I saw this movie on TV or something. I had been going to Blockbuster and renting these movies called Pre-Hysteria.
Okay.
And it's these strange movies where these kids get some baby dinosaurs and they hang out with them and stuff, and maybe there's a plot.
Okay.
And I don't know why this came up while this like weird memory came up while I was watching The Mummy this last time, but now I've just been trying to deep dive and find ways to watch them because they're strange, they're weird. Stop go animation and puppets and stuff. Just a little side tangent I wanted to go on.
I'm glad you brought this to my attention. I don't think there's any other world that I would have wanted to live in where you did make your mission to mention that.
Dude, I mean, I googled. I mean, did you type it into the old Google machine to give you
No,
a little? Dude, give it a little
I'm
Google
going
real
at it
fast.
blind.
Dude, go at it blind. It's so strange. It's
What
like a early rip-off of Jurassic Park. I think
what
it
is
came out like the
this? What
same
is this
year.
called?
Pre-hysteria.
Prehysteria.
These strange Jurassic Park rip-offs where they're like, kids like dinosaurs. Let's let some kids hang out with baby dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. 1993. You know what? This is like got to be one of those part of that phenomenon where it had been leaked in like 1992, early 93 or something like that, that Jurassic Park was being made and it was going to be and people knew it was going to be a big movie because it had big names behind it like Steven Spielberg. And so a lot of studios would just what up Marv?
Marv!
Glad you're here. I wish I was right there with you, bud. Um, but this has got to be like a part of that phenomenon where movie studios caught wind of Jurassic Park being made, and so they tried to get ahead of it by making their own piece of shit dinosaur movie.
Dude, these were slap though.
So you got Prehysteria, and
You got
you
Carnosaur.
got Carnosaur. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say fucking
I
Carnosaur.
love Carnosaur.
Yeah, Roger Corman.
Oh, those are slap aroundies.
Well, I think he produced that movie, but Roger Corman's got like his name's like everywhere when it comes to monster movies and such like that.
Oh, it's so good. Sorry about that little side tangent. I just needed you to know about this. So this is something that we literally went to Blockbuster, and I remember waiting in the car because my brother and my dad went to get to see if they had the third one, to see if somebody had returned it, and he came out with it like lifted over his head, and we were all like, "Woo!"
You're good.
It was amazing. Well, you get a little tired over there,
Woo!
buddy. Get back to the mummy. You
I
got anything
know.
else?
Yeah. Did you ever see the? You briefly mentioned it. Did you ever see the old Boris Karloff mummy from like the 1930s?
I've only seen clips of it.
So this is
I
where
haven't
like
sat down and watched it.
the interesting history sort of comes from with the mummy movies. Like the history of this movie goes back to because this is Universal, right? This is Universal Studios. Um, sorry, trying to pull them up. There we go. Okay, so these movies were the amalgamation of a history of mummy movies that basically come from and stem from the 1932 Mummy featuring Boris Karloff, who, if you don't know, also was the Frankenstein monster in the original 1931 movie. So, like, the iconic look for Frankenstein comes from that actor
They
and
just knew what they had.
that movie. Yeah, exactly. And so, this mummy that he played in 1932 in the Mummy movie was Imhotep. So
Call back.
So it's a callback. It's not necessarily like a remake because this movie is like nothing like that movie. Like none of the
Not even a little
not
bit.
even a little bit. And in fact, uh Imhotep in that movie does not even spend that much time, as a mummified mummy, like in the bandages and stuff like that, like the stereotypical mummy you'd think of. That's not who he is. He actually, arrives in his revived form pretty early on in the movie. So it's a pretty distinguished role, is what I'm trying to say. Now, the more traditional form of the mummy that we know of, with like the bandages and like the mummy that attacks and stuff like that, comes from a series of movies Universal did in the 1940s that started with the mummy's hand, right? That's where you get the traditional idea of this mummy that walks around and like kills people, stalks people and kills people. So, and then of course like there's like been tons of mummies and remakes and stuff like that of mummy movies and such like that. Like there's the 1959 remake of the Universal movie Mummy. It's called The Mummy, and it's by Hammer Films, who did a lot of remakes of horror movies, and that kind of like combines elements of the 1932 Mummy and the 1940s series of movies, which is like The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, stuff like that. And uh and so this movie, The Mummy, 1999, all these movies are called The Mummy, by the way. That's what makes it so confusing. It's like you've got literally, like, I'm looking at it right now. There's four movies just right off the bat that are like the most famous versions of these movies. And you got The Mummy 1932, The Mummy 1959, The Mummy 1999, and then The Mummy 2017.
Incredible. Not confusing at all. It's just like Halloween.
Exactly. And so The Mummy 1999 is basically the amalgamation of all of the Mummy movies that preceded it to transform it into. And also, we haven't discussed it yet, but this movie has to take tons of inspiration from Indiana Jones
Incredible amounts.
and combines all of that to create the type of movie that we have now.
And it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So you've got, and let's kind of dissect that a little bit, like the whole like Indiana Jones vibe. Because when I was watching the movie, I was getting a lot of Indiana Jones vibes from it, like the kind of adventure. Like I get a sense of adventure whenever I watch this movie. You've got the guy, like the badass. It's like the two main characters are basically combined together. They like to get like individually like their own separate things, but when you combine them together as a couple, they're basically the two halves of Indiana Jones. You've got like the scholar, and then you've got the badass. Because Indiana Jones is both those things. And then usually John Hannah's character, would play the role of one of like the damsels in distress.
Hilarious.
Exactly. And it takes place in the 1920s, which is very, Indiana Jones esque time period. It's got all the old timey action set pieces, like the boat. We're always moving. Like the first half of the movie is us moving in a direction. And then there's like, we're going to the tombs. We're going to like the spooky place, this tombs area. Then all of a sudden we're going to, um, excuse me. We're going from the tombs to Cairo, which is also in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
maybe young Indy was looking up to Brendan Fraser this whole.
canonically speaking, these movies take place in the same universe. That'd be insane.
It makes sense.
It would. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I've seen some crazy shit in Indiana Jones. Like
There's aliens.
there's aliens,
Time travel.
time travel. There's like
Different deities and religions being true.
yeah, immortal warriors feasting off the Holy Grail, just like crazy shit like that.
It's just incredible stuff.
I love it. I love it. I think it's got a swashbuckling taste to it. Kind of reminds me of it, like seriously, like it reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Three Musketeers, like from the 1990s.
Indiana Jones and the Three Musketeers?
No, like Indiana Jones.
Oh, comma, and
and the Three Musketeers.
I was just like, wait, that's a thing?
Dude,
I need
that'd be
to read that.
crazy. That'd be crazy. I would read the shit out of that.
It's like when I found out that there's a comic where Indiana Jones finds Han Solo's ship crashed and that
Yeah.
Chewbacca is Bigfoot.
Dude, that's I've heard about that. That's so funny.
It's incredible. That's storytelling. That's when we used to make things in this country.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna list off some mummy movies, and I'll give you like a brief synopsis, and you tell me if you think it's worth the watch, right? So
All right.
so I already mentioned the 1932 Mummy and like all of its stuff. It's basically like the same plot. It's just it's less actiony. So 1932, black and white, Boris Karloff. Do you think it's worth watching?
Probably.
Probably you'd give it a shot, right? I mean, I think it's
I
only
give it.
like
I'll probably watch it.
probably check it out. Bubba Hotep. This is a movie. Okay, so after falling into a lengthy coma following a freak accident involving hip gyration, a now aged Elvis Presley, played by Bruce Campbell, wakes up in an East Texas nursing home where he befriends Jack, an African American senior who claims to be President John F. Kennedy. After residents of their quiet retirement community start dying of dubiously unnatural causes, Elvis and Jack discover that the perpetrator is Bubba Hotep, an Egyptian mummy with murderous intentions.
I'm good.
Threw a curveball with that
Next.
one. Okay. Frankenstein versus the Mummy. Doctor
In.
immediately.
Next.
Don't even need to hear it. I'll read the synopsis anyway. Dr. Victor Frankenstein reanimates a sadistic madman while his colleague uncovers the mummy of an evil pharaoh. When the two monsters come face to face, no one is safe from their rampage.
Go ahead and take my money.
Take
What's
my money.
next?
Up next, Abbott and Costello meet the mummy. The bumbling comedians. Are you familiar with Abbott and Costello?
I am.
Okay. The bumbling comedians try to make a buck guarding a valuable mummy before they're drawn into a plot by cult worshippers to steal a cursed medallion. 1955. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd probably be pretty funny.
Okay.
A lot of silly back and forth.
Okay.
A lot of banter.
And then last we've got right here that I thought might be interesting, The Monster Squad. Have you ever heard of this movie?
No.
Okay, so this is like your typical like 1980s young group of kids and monsters type movie, right?
Oh gosh.
So you got five youngsters find themselves up against the combined might of Dracula, the Mummy, the Gill Man, and Frankenstein's monster who arrive in town in search of a magic amulet. The Monster Squad. I'll tell you what, dude, it's actually pretty gas.
Is it?
It's pretty gas. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty good.
I don't know if I can trust you anymore these days.
I'll tell you what is gas. We've got The Mummy Returns and Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Those are gas.
Yep. Okay, do you have any other final thoughts for The Mummy?
Just that you're on the wrong side of the river.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm glad we got there. So, that being said, now that we have done that, we're going to get into our bit, as we like to do, our little bits. You're going to love this, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Where are you? You shit. You're supposed to pop up.
Oh, are we going to have another one of these?
We shouldn't.
Dude, it'd be so cool if we did.
Come on. No, I'm trying to get the graphic to pull up. It's not pulling up for some reason. See if that worked. There it is. Okay. So let me adjust.
Oh, I can't see the graphic. How lame.
Well, if you pull up Twitch, you can.
Ugh, never mind. I'll be okay.
Okay. So, you're going to love this. Okay, so what we're doing this week is we are doing a brief horror movie villain tier list. That's what we agreed to do, right? We didn't agree to do like horror franchises, right?
Yeah, just
Okay,
the villain.
just the villains. Okay. This I thought this would be very enjoyable. So I'm going to go through the list that I made. And did you pull up Twitch, or do you just want me to do it like this?
Nah, you just do it.
Do you want me to share my screen? Because I can do that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Okay, let me do that real
I
quick.
just know how much you like to give it some ambiance, some pizzazz. You're the coolest.
You're welcome. I'm doing this just for you. Hopefully this works.
Oh, I'll kiss you for it.
So we'll do the we'll do this. Come on. If this takes too long, I might not do it, honestly. Just tell you the truth.
Hey, that's all right, buddy. If you just want to do it live,
Let's just do it live. Because
let's just do it live.
I don't know how long
Let's
it's gonna
just do it
take. I don't know how long it's gonna take to do. Anyway.
Hey, it's all right.
Okay, so this is our horror. God damn it! This is our horror movie villain tier list, and we're gonna start off with a classic. We're gonna start with Norman Bates,
Ah,
Psycho.
Psycho
We got S
1960. I
A
mean,
B
it's the
C D
classic.
F.
I mean, he's at least got to be A, right? The E.
I'll put him in A right now. I mean, he basically like changed the landscape for like psycho horror villains. You know, like just absolutely freak shows.
People pretending to be their moms. Spoiler warning.
Do you want me to go ahead and just like do the bullet points, like the main guys, and then we'll get into like some of the wild cards? Because I feel like
Yeah,
that was
good.
good. That was a good starting point. Let's go ahead and get into
Hit us with it.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers is an S for me, dude. The
S.
dude, he's got a whole holiday for him.
He basically did like where Norman Bates, Psycho, crawled, so Michael Myers could run.
So that Michael Myers could not say a goddamn word and just murder people.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, yeah, so I agree with that S. Jason Voorhees.
Nah, he's a cheap ripoff. Give him to B.
B.
Yeah,
I'll put him
cheap
in.
ripoff.
I'll put him in B. That's fair. He's not as like complex as these other two characters, but
No, they try to make him, but I mean, other than Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason X, I just I'll dump all over Jason all day. He's my least favorite of these guys,
I don't
other than one other
know.
guy.
I don't know. Who's the
There's
other
one
guy?
other guy who's below him, but we'll get there.
I think I know who we're talking about. Oh, you know what? Who I forgot to add to the list that I'm hoping I
Who's
can
that?
find because I don't think I saw him.
Uh-oh. This guy's slacking.
Maybe I saw him and I just forgot I added him. No, I don't even think he's in here.
Uh-oh.
I was looking for Leatherface. I couldn't find.
Oh, that's the one I was gonna put at the very bottom. Whatever the
It's a
lowest is.
F tier. You gonna put him in F?
Yeah, that's at least that's my opinion. You could probably talk me up to maybe one, maybe E.
Well, for some reason, I don't see him in the list.
That's because he doesn't deserve to even be on the list. All right, moving on.
How odd. I'd probably put him in D if I was gonna do anything. But I haven't seen
I mean, that's
I haven't
fair.
seen the most recent movie though.
I mean, that's fair enough. Just none of the movies are worth your time.
Okay. Up next is Freddy Krueger.
For now we're talking. This is my guy right here.
I mean,
This
this has
is
got to
my
be an
this
A
is
or
my
an
bread
S,
and
right?
butter.
This has got to be an
What's
A or an
that?
S.
Yeah, an A or an S. Let's just go with A.
Okay.
He's my guy. He's my
Yeah.
guy though.
He's pretty solid. He's basically like everything you want in a horror movie villain. He's
And then
got
it's the same guy repetitively, just working on his craft every movie.
yeah, he's great. Um, Chucky from Child's Play.
Nah, it's a
C.
solid B. Oh, C.
C.
I'll go with C.
Fuck,
I'll go with C.
Chucky is just such a shit. He's not even that funny. I don't know. I think I just have
I'm,
like this
I would,
weird vitriol towards his character.
yeah, there is, you know what? I agree. He's not that good.
No.
Go ahead and put him in C.
Pinhead.
I like the first Hellraiser movie, but I'm not sure if that's a good series of movies.
I've got some mixed opinions about it myself. I don't really know, but I mean, like, from an aesthetic and lore perspective, I could probably stick with B.
I'll agree with you.
Okay, just based on that parameter alone, I think works
hmm
fine. Um, Candyman.
Candy. It's like a solid beer.
Yeah, I'll swing that.
The newest movie wasn't as good as everybody made it sound like it was going to be, but that first one, it gets under your skin.
Okay, here's a good one. Ghostface.
Oh, me, I love a scream. That's a solid S right there.
Let's go S tier.
S for Scream.
Another movie that
What's your
basically
favorite scary movie?
another killer that basically revolutionized the slasher genre.
Wes Craven does it with Nightmare on Elm Street, does it with Scream, and then sometimes I'm a little deep, man. I'm getting a little woozy.
What? Who do you think? Okay, so now that we have both Ghostface and Freddy Krueger on the list, who do you think? Like, do you think Freddy Krueger should stay in A, or does he also belong in S?
I mean, personally, I believe he belongs in S, but that's my humble opinion.
We'll sit on it. We'll sit on it.
We'll sit on. Let's get some more people on the board.
Yeah. Hannibal Lecter.
I mean, do you know what's interesting? I like Brian Cox's version of Hannibal Lecter in the movie Manhunter more than
Yeah.
I like Anthony Hopkins' version of him.
So should I just tell him to fuck off then?
Yeah, he's
What?
way more interesting in Manhunter, where he's more like a little rascally child.
Well,
Like
let's just
he's
say Hannibal Lecter in general, including
Hannibal
all
Lecter in
portrayals.
general as a character. I mean, because even this TV show is really good too.
How about
Solid A or B.
I'll go with B. I'll swing B. Well,
We'll swing B.
I'll swing A actually.
Oh, I'm a big A guy today.
I don't know. I don't know. That
You
just
feel a little generous.
it feels yeah, I think I'm being a little generous here. Like I feel like I should put Jason Voorhees in A, but I don't want to get into that argument.
I mean, if you hey now, here's what we'll do. We'll move Freddy up one and Jason up one.
Okay, fair.
A little compromising.
Fair. So we
You know, I
put
like to barter this. Yeah, it's a little bartering system here.
fair. Okay, yeah. Up next is the Jigsaw Killer.
Ooh.
See.
It's good, but it's went for too long. One is perfect.
Yeah.
The other nine movies, kind of hit or miss. So he's gonna have to be a B for me.
He's a B for you. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll
It's
swing
very
that.
iconic. I want to play a game, but it's one of those where it's kind of soured my taste with all of these extra nonsense to the series.
Okay. Um okay, who's next? Who wants to be next? We're gonna get into some of the wild cards now because we basically
Here we
covered
go.
a lot of the ones that we already expected. Well, I'll get into more like the classic monsters and then we'll get into the wild cards. Dracula.
Dracula, Dracula, Dracula. What do you have him?
Uh Dracula as a villain. I'm kind of swinging for an A. I kind of want to go S, but I also like A. But I'm thinking about like all these different portrayals of Dracula. Like I'm thinking about Nosferatu, the Hammer films, Bram
Batman
Stoker's
versus
Dracula,
Dracula.
Batman versus Dracula,
Van
Van
Helsing.
Helsing. I think as like in terms of like what an iconic, like we're talking about like iconic villains, right?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Stood the test of time over the
that have
years.
stood the test of time over there. I think I gotta swing A. I know that's probably controversial, but I just gotta do it.
I'll agree with you.
Frankenstein's monster.
I've just never been into Frankenstein in any media.
Really? See, I like
It's been
Frankenstein movies. I like the tragedy of it. I really like the original story.
I'm a big fan of the concept and the story. I just never cared for any of the different renditions of it.
Hmm. So where are we leaning here? Because I was gonna go S.
I was well as for the concept of it and the significance of it. We'll put it in S.
Okay, swing an S right there.
You just remember that.
I'll remember that. You granted me that one. The Wolfman.
Eh,
Eh,
B.
B. Fair.
He's maybe this new movie that they're coming out with this year will sway me, but other than being in Sandlot for a few scenes, it's all right.
Yeah. You know what else was another character that they did not include in this tier list?
The
And then
Black Lagoon.
no, they actually do have that.
That's
they
funny.
they had that, but they don't have a mummy.
Oh, after we just did the Mummy episode, how funny.
That would have been perfect. That would have been so
It would have been
perfect.
perfect.
But they don't.
But you just didn't do it.
They did
Because you
not.
didn't do your homework, buddy.
I did not look through this more thoroughly because I had to slap this together uh, right before we hopped on, and I'm only including like half of the characters that are listed. Anyway, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Solid D tier.
Solid, solid B or C.
What? I'll get C. I'm not putting any higher than that.
That's fine.
I mean,
You said D?
I said D.
I mean, we'll put it at D. It doesn't. Who cares about the?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Like of all the
other than Guillermo del Toro, nobody cares about.
yeah, exactly. Like out of all of the like iconic movie monsters, I feel like the Creature from the Black Lagoon is like bottom of the tier.
You're right.
Like I think the Invisible Man actually ranks higher than that.
Yeah, and just the Kevin Bacon one.
The Hollow Man. Well, luckily I didn't include that either. So
Good.
there's a lot that's not included. I just realized. So funny. Anyway, um, what is next? Okay, the Xenomorph.
It's gotta be S.
You think so?
Yeah, it's the Xenomorph, dude.
It's the Xenomorph. Okay, well, if you feel that way about the Xenomorph, how do you feel about the Predator?
Yeah, it's A or B.
I'll give it B.
They usually send, a few predators, but Xenomorphs can cook up a whole batch of new ones every time.
Dude, our B tier is lit. We got Pinhead, Candyman, Jigsaw Killer, Wolfman, Predator. That is a lit
Yeah.
B tier.
The B tier is it. And guess what? That's why the B movies are so good.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, so who do we got next? Okay, Leprechaun.
It's a fucking F.
No.
Yes, those movies suck.
I'll put it in. Come on, for the humor, you gotta at least put that in D.
No, I gave you an S. This is an F.
This is the F. You're so.
This is definitely an
You're
F.
so
This one and
lame.
Leatherface are F.
You're so
dude.
lame. I hate you.
Dude, fuck you. We're not gonna argue about the leprechaun.
Okay. Okay. Here's another one. The Headless Horseman.
Just as an idea.
Just like the concept character and all its different portrayals.
I like Sleepy Hollow and the idea of the headless horseman, but I wouldn't put it very high. Probably like C.
Probably like C. Yeah. Okay. And next is Carrie from Carrie.
I do like Carrie, but I don't love Carrie.
C.
Probably another C.
Yeah. C for Carrie.
C for Carrie.
Okay, here's another. Since we're on C's, Cujo.
He's just a good boy.
Another Stephen
But it's
King.
not a very good movie or book.
Do you want to go D?
Yeah, we'll go hit him with a D, dog.
Yep. Since we're on Stephen King, Pennywise, the 1980s one, or I guess it's like 1990. Tim Curry's Pennywise.
Yeah, the 1990 ABC Family miniseries. I like it. I just looked over my bookshelf and I could see Stephen King's It. So I mean, it's at least a B.
Okay. Now I also included Bill Skarsgård's.
That's the A or S right for me.
Yeah, I'll go A. I'll swing that. It's pretty horrific.
I like it a lot.
We've only got 7 left, so we're on a roll here. Now a lot of these are the wild cards. So like these are the ones that are just like goofy picks.
Let's see how wild they are.
I went with the shark from Jaws.
It's got to be S, right?
You know, I never really thought about it until you just said it out loud. The shark from Jaws is an S tier movie villain.
It's
That's
goaded.
that's
He took out everybody except for one dude.
that's
He
so
got
funny.
foiled.
That's so funny.
S
Um,
for smile, you son of a bitch. Come on.
okay. The evil gremlin from Gremlins, Spike or Mohawk or whatever it was.
It's like a D.
B.
Nah, it's like a D.
It's like a D. Okay.
Uh,
The monster from Jeepers Creepers.
God damn it, I love Jeepers Creepers. It's probably like a B though. They're not very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really even remember this thing having a personality. I just know it's got like
He's kind of funny in some of them.
it's more of like a aesthetic thing, like with the mummy.
Yeah, and then he's kind of just scaring them. So like only a few times do you see him like kind of joking around with it.
Yeah. The fly from The Fly.
Eh,
I'll give it like a D.
yeah, a little D.
I mean, I respect the whole like scientific tragedy of the character.
A little teleportation.
Yeah, like that it's unlike the other members of the D category. Like actually, Cujo is also kind of a tragic character too, since it's like the dog didn't ask to be fucked up by rabies.
Mm-hmm. That's just crazy. And just Jeff Goldblum being hot.
Yeah. Um, Up next is Jack from The Shining.
It's so good. Gotta be
Uh,
gotta be up to the top.
you got
Are
like
you not a
higher.
you're not a Shining guy?
No, I like The Shining. I just don't know if I like. I don't know. It's hard to say
What did
because
you? Let's talk about it. What are you thinking?
I mean it's just a guy that just goes crazy and tries to kill his
I mean,
family. I don't think that
but he's
ranks. I don't
possessed
think
by
that. I
ghouls.
don't think that ranks. I don't think that ranks higher than C. I
I'll
mean,
have
because
to.
think about because
I'll concede.
because
I'll
I was
concede for C. C
because
for concede.
think about like all the other like heavy hitters we've got in B tier and above.
Yeah, you're
I
right. He
I
can't. He's just got an axe. Even if
yeah
he's possessed by ghoulies.
yeah. Last two. So we've got the Babadook.
Babadook's like a fucking F, dude. Babadook's so overrated.
Solid opinion.
So
I
overrated.
like the movie. Don't get me wrong. And then
It's
last but not
alright.
least is gonna be um Pearl from Pearl.
It's like a C. It's pretty good, but just like the Jack argument, it's
Yeah,
just a murderer person that's didn't really change the demographic or anything like Scream did.
yeah. Okay, so that is all of the ones that I selected. If you want, I can go through and name some other ones, or if you're good with the list as is, we can just be done.
I think I'm good with how it turned out. I think we got
Okay.
some interesting ones on there. It's not everybody's tier list, but it's our tier
It's
list.
our tier list. That's right. So that's gonna be it for the tier list. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, peace on that. Boop.
Peace.
Okay, so now doing our housekeeping, and then we're gonna get out of here. Um, so yeah, so we finished the Mummy, finished Hellboy. So I think all we've got left to
Blade.
close out October is Blade. So that'll be fun. And then after that, we'll get back to like our normal standings where we just talk about like, we'll go back to our normal picker wheel and then we'll pick out some more movies. We might touch up the picker wheel a little bit just to kind of like get us back on some kind of track for the action movies have.
We're spinning off the track.
Oh my God. Well, I want to get to like more of the classics like Lethal
No, of
Weapon
course.
or
We gotta
Point
get in there.
Break, Roadhouse. I want to do
We
some of the other movies. Like we still like there's more Arnold movies to do. There's more Stallone movies to do. There's potentially more Jean-Claude Van Damme movies to do.
please no. Please no.
So I think what we'll do is so we'll do Blade, and then I think at the end of our Blade discussion, do you want to go through and do like our like how many times this person's appeared on the show before?
Yeah, that and the picker wheel will be the ending on that episode.
That sounds good. Alrighty.
All right, it was good to see you as always,
Yeah.
devoted fans, and Marv and you, well, Gary.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
bid you adieu.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you guys later. Peace.